All right, pistol shot number 6. So we are doing some hip mobility assessments today. So make sure you have something to write down the results. If you have a partner to help you view and test, that would be great. But if not, it's fine. These are self-assessment friendly tests that we're doing. I do, however, have some optional tools or types of tools that you can go and grab to help you. We want to have something to use as sort of a ruler, okay? So it does not have to be an actual ruler, but something kind of like a low yoga block or a ball about this, about the same height, okay? That will help you judge the distance, a fixed object to judge the distance. Then you could have any sort of a strap, okay? It could be, a long towel, sock, one of your bands, okay? It's just to give yourself a little bit of a reach, okay? So those are the optional tools, and then you'll be getting on the floor in order to do the assessments. Now, I want to just quickly run down what and why we're testing for, because we did the air squats not only as to be given as your actual exercise, but we had used the air squat to give a general idea of where your pain points are. So not only actual pain or discomfort, but where you actually have trouble. So let's run through that as a quick review and show you the air squat once again and where we might be needing to focus on. So you might have already figured out, for example, since we also did the ankle assessment, that your ankle mobility is a huge issue for you. So that was where we could not get our knees to touch the wall at least 5 inches away. Okay, that was one of the first posts that we did, so go back to that if you haven't seen it. So we're going to just go over the air squat, and it'll give you another overview and review of why we're focusing on the hip mobility. So the air squat, when you went down all the way, what we were looking for is to figure out where you had trouble. So it could have been that the very first thing could have been that you can't hip pitch. Maybe you came forward. Let me just show you the air squat first. Again, dang it, I'm doing it cold. Okay, don't do that. It could have been that your first pain point was your knees shoot forward, you don't know how to hip pitch. It could be that as you went down here, you start feeling a little wobbly in the knees, or that you have knee pain. So that would be either strength or most likely something in the hips. Okay, so if you have knee problems, pay attention to this mobility assessment. Then, when you got down here, you found that your ankles were either lifting off the floor, or you're about to fall back, okay? And those both would be ankle mobility issues, or you're more upright, like your knees are shooting more straight up to the sky versus being able to bring them forwards, okay? Those are all ankle mobility issues. Or you could find that when you're down here in a deeper squat, you can't keep your spine straight. So not necessarily upright, you have a slight angle, that's fine, but that you're rounded. Okay, so if you're down here and you can't keep this position without rounding, then that would be a thoracic spine issue, probably. Okay, so this is why we have used the air squat to kind of generally pinpoint where your issues are. All right, so now we're going to focus on what's going on with the hips. So we have basically 3 areas. I gotta bring you down. It's basically, we gotta get on the floor, okay? So we have 3 areas that we're going to test, and this is where you would bring in your little handy tools. The first one, you don't need anything, and then the next 3, you'll need the tools. Okay. we'll get down on our back for all of these, okay? So once you're laid completely down, the first thing is just going to test your knee flexion. So how easily can you bring your knees towards your chest or your shoulders, and you should definitely be able to comfortably get beyond your like belly button area. And the other thing is, even if you could come way up, I want you to feel for any discomfort or impediment here, okay? Where you feel like, yeah, you could get past it, but you feel some sort of discomfort, a little pinging, or that you have to fight through it, okay? So that would be a test for your hip flexion. If you feel any of those, discomforts, make a note of that. So we'll do some drills for that in the future. The next thing is your internal rotation, okay? Internal rotation of the hips. What we need for the squats and the pistol squats is external rotation, but your internal rotation limitations could affect the squat as well. So to test that, again, same position, straight down, and this is where you could use the strap or towel simply to hook around under your foot, okay? So you could still lay down and reach in case that flexibility is an issue for you. Okay, so from here, we're going to turn that ankle outside, which is going to cause an internal rotation of the hip. And you're just going to test, so keep it level, and you're just going to test what is that angle, if you can get to about 30 to 45 degrees. And again, feeling for any discomfort or where you're running into, a fight. Okay, so check both sides, and you're also checking here to see if you have any differences, even a small difference, okay, on both sides, on either side. So once again, the internal rotation, the ankle's going to go outward, okay, the knee is going to stay fixed, and you're checking to see, oh my God, I'm so stiff. You're checking to see if we can get, 30 to 45 degrees out, okay? And then external rotation, we're going to test it in two ways, or two options. You can, same thing here, with the strap. Now you're going to take that ankle to the opposite shoulder, towards that opposite shoulder, and you want to feel or check that you have 45 degrees. I'm sorry, not 45 degrees. So you actually want to see if you could get parallel, okay? Or is that parallel? Perpendicular. Perpendicular, all right? So I am way, way short of that. And this is also very common. This is the most common area where you'll see like a huge lack, and very common to have pretty big differences on both sides. So I am way, 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 way lacking here. Okay, you want this to be able to come straight across, and then you're also feeling for any impediments around your hip joints. The other way you could test that external hip rotation is to the ball is probably not as good of an idea in case it rolls, okay? Take something low. If you have a partner, they could just place their fist under the knees. I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so from here, you're just gonna get into that figure four, okay? So you'll take that figure four shape, and you'll use this to just kind of judge from side to side how far is that knee off the floor, okay? This is ridiculous. I am ridiculous. And I feel a little bit of a, fight here, all right? So you'll judge how far is this distance, and then you'll judge the other side as well, okay? Really bad. The good news is that these sort of mobility drills for the hips are going to give you results in minutes, at least temporarily, so that will help a lot. Okay, so those were the 4 tests for the hip mobility assessment. It's not, I don't have the the time on the post now in order to actually go through the drills to assess or to actually address each one of those. But you have made a note of whether you seem to have the biggest problem with your hip flexion, which could be a very, very easy fix. I think I probably have time to go over that right now. You may have a problem with internal rotation degree, or you may have a problem with external rotation degree. You may have a problem with all of the above, and you may already have knee pain. The other part that I forgot to mention that you may have found with the air squats is simply strength, and very often it's going to be strength and the lack of strength in our adductors as well as our glute med. So if you find that when you come down and in order to get up, you have to sort of hoist or kind of do some sort of a shifting to bring yourself up instead of being able to just access your strength by pushing in through the heels and moving up as one unit, then strength issue. And it may not be a strength issue meaning that you are weak. It may mean that this is a body weight exercise, remember? So, I'm 120 pounds. If someone is 180 pounds, if someone, is 200 pounds, they're trying to lift that much more, pounds off the floor than I need to, okay? So it may not be that it's not necessarily considered weak, but you just need more strength for you. You understand? So, take a note, of where you are. But one of the ways that you can figure out or fix your hip flexion problem is to simply just widen your stance and take the feet out along with the knees so that the knees track over that middle toe and the big toe, okay? And that will, if it's more of a restriction in your anatomical hip socket placement, because we differ in that, then that will just give you more clearance, right, when you go down. That will give you more clearance to get below the knees, okay, without a physical impingement, okay? Now, if it's something else, if that still doesn't help you, then we'll have other drills, okay? But that's a really quick one to try for yourself, all right? So that has nothing to do with strength or anything. That's purely our anatomical, the way we're built. So that's fine. Give that one a try. And you don't have to do, you could just steer clear of some of those types of squats where we want, they insist where the exercise is the feet pointed forward and feet together. You could just avoid those and that's fine, okay? Alrighty, so give these a go, make a note, and look for the drills in the future that will address any of those areas for you that is of pain, discomfort, or restrictions.